The air was thick with the scent of wet earth and decay as I stood before the iron gates of Blackwood Asylum. For decades, this place had been a stain on the landscape of sprawling, gothic nightmare of stone and suffering. They say the walls here don't just hold secrets, they hold the people who were forgotten. I checked my DSLR one last time. My name is Alex, and I've spent my life photographing shadows. But as I pushed open the rusted gates, I felt a chill that didn't come from the wind. The heavy iron door groaned, a sound like a dying man's last breath. Inside, the darkness was absolute, save for a single, dusty beam of sunlight piercing through the grime. The silence was heavy, pressing against my eardrums. I raised my camera, the lens reflecting the endless, empty corridor. My finger trembled on the shutter. Click, the first photo, a portrait of emptiness, or so I thought. I moved deeper into the bowels of the asylum. In the main hall, I stopped dead. An old, cracked wall clock was spinning not forward, but backward, the hands whirring with a mechanical hiss. My heart hammered against my ribs. I looked at the preview screen of my camera. The empty room I had just photographed was filled with strange, glowing orbs. I wasn't alone. I found a row of medical files, their edges frayed and yellow. As I reached out to touch one, I felt a sudden drop in temperature. These were the records of the unreachable patients. People subjected to experiments that were never meant to see the light of day. The shadows in the room seemed to deepen, crawling up the walls like ink. Every time my camera flash fired, the world turned white for a split second. And in those seconds, the shadows changed. They grew longer, distorted, reaching out like claws. I turned to a cracked mirror in the hallway to wipe the sweat from my brow. I froze. My reflection was looking back at me, but its movements were delayed by a heartbeat. And standing right behind my reflection's shoulder was something dark, faceless, and hungry. I spun around. Nothing. Just an old, dust-covered wheelchair sitting perfectly in the center of the hall. It hadn't been there a moment ago. The moonlight filtered through a broken window, casting a silver glow on the rusted metal. I could hear it now, a faint, rhythmic scratching. I put on my headphones and hit record on my audio gear. The waveform spikes were violent. Still here, a voice whispered through the static. It wasn't a ghost. It was an echo remnant of a scream trapped in time. I looked at the wall. In fresh, dark smears, the words appeared. They are still here. I snapped another photo of the wheelchair. When I looked at the screen, my blood ran cold. In the digital image, the wheelchair was floating 3 feet off the ground. My mind screamed at me to run, but the asylum had other plans. I tried to find the exit, but the doors were gone. I was trapped in a room with her identical white walls. The air turned sickly green, smelling of ozone and chemicals. My own shadows began to move independently, screaming and pointing toward the floor. I scrolled through my camera gallery in a panic. Every single photo I had taken now featured that same faceless entity, getting closer and closer in every frame. The surgical light in the operating room flickered to life, buzzing like a dying insect. The medical tools on the tray rattled. Then, a message appeared on my camera screen. Overriding the controls, echoes are alive. Enter the basement for truth. The stairs to the basement were crumbling, leading into a darkness so thick it felt physical. My flashlight beam was weak, barely cutting through the gloom. I descended, my boots crunching on broken glass and bone. The basement wasn't a room. It was a void. The walls were melting into a swirling black mist. Out of the darkness, the echo took form. It was a nightmare of contorted limbs and decayed fabric, its eyes to red pinpricks of pure hatred. It lunged. I didn't have a weapon, so I used the only thing I had. I pointed my camera and fired. The flash, boom, the white light tore through the darkness, the entity shrieking as the light burned its shadow flesh. I ran. I didn't look back. I burst through the main doors, my lungs burning, and didn't stop until I was past the iron gates and hidden behind the trees. I collapsed against a trunk, gasping for air, clutching my camera to my chest. I was safe. The sun was beginning to rise. But curiosity is a curse. I turned on the camera to see the last photo I had taken in the basement. It was a photo of the asylum gates from the outside. But there, standing behind the bars, was the faceless entity. It wasn't just watching me. In the photo, the creature was holding a camera of its own identical to mine, pointing it directly back at me. And that's when I heard it. A click, coming from right behind my head.